right, give me 1 second. All right, we're connected. I believe we're live. It says
All
we're
right.
live. What's up, everybody? Welcome to your second episode of Horror Headlines. I'm your host, Terrence Chambliss. I'm joined by my co-host, John Marr. How's it going, man?
It's going great. I'm just trying to work out the kinks of TikTok.
I feel that, brother. So, yes, we have 4 movie news topics to discuss. Our main topic today is the one we're starting with, which is the M. Night Shyamalan trailer for Trap, which was released today. This comes from Bloody Disgusting. So let's go ahead and talk about it real quick. It says just 2 months after his daughter, Asha Night Shyamalan debuts on the big screen with horror movie The Watcher, M. Night Shyamalan is back with his new thriller Trap. M. Night Shyamalan's new thriller for Warner Brothers, the 16th movie in his Oscar-nominated career thus far, is headed to movie theaters nationwide on August 9th, 2024. In the upcoming thriller,
Let's pause for a second because I think we are now live on TikTok. So let's do our fancy introduction piece, and we'll just start over again. Sorry for anybody watching on YouTube. We're going to start over right here.
No, that's fine.
No problem. What's up, everybody on TikTok? I am John Marr from Why We Love Horror. That's Hunter Chambliss from the Nerd Entertainment Network. Also, welcome to Primetime. This is the first episode of Horror Headlines. We've already been live on YouTube for a little bit. We already started talking about the first topic. I interrupted Hunter so rudely. Hunter, I apologize to the people on Welcome to Primetime, but we are talking right now about M. Night Shyamalan's new movie. The trailer for Trap dropped today. Hunter, read the article for the people so we know exactly what we're talking about. Feel free to interact live with us on TikTok. And let's have a great time. Tell us more about Trap.
So, yes, from BloodyDisgusting.com, this says Trap, an official trailer preview, a wild new horror experience from M. Night Shyamalan. Just 2 months after his daughter, Asha Night Shyamalan, debuts on the big screen with her horror movie, The Watchers, M. Night Shyamalan is back with his new horror thriller, Trap. M. Night Shyamalan's new thriller for Warner Brothers, the 16th movie in his Oscar-nominated career thus far, is headed to movie theaters nationwide on August 9th, 2024. In the upcoming thriller starring Josh Hartnett, a father and his teen daughter attend a pop concert where they realize they are at the center of a dark and sinister event. As the official trailer for Trap reveals, the pop concert is actually an elaborate trap designed to catch the butcher, a sadistic serial killer who's been evading authorities. Hartnett had recently described the mysterious film as very bizarre and very dark. According to IMDb, the cast of Trap also includes Haley Mills, Marley McFall, Vanessa Saif, Samlaka Shyamalan, Scott Ian McDowell, Christy Woods, and Kylie Lower. All right, so from the trailer, I really like this trailer. There was a lot we can talk about. Especially, let's get to the big reveal of Josh Hartnett's character is actually the butcher, and
the thing I was saying was that, like, usually, we know M. Night Shyamalan. We've known him for decades now, for over 2 decades. His movies, like, we know he's known for doing twists. So they reveal in the trailer that the butcher, the person that they're trying to catch, is Josh Hartnett's character, the dad. Mm-hmm. So he's there with his daughter at this pop concert, which was all this elaborate trick to get in there, which leads me to believe that they must know that he is a man with a daughter who would go to a concert.
Ooh.
So there's got to be a very narrow group of people. Obviously, it's not any of the teeny boppers at that concert, and it's not any of the moms.
That would be funny.
It's got to be one of the dads at the concert. So, and then we get a few clips of, like, the suspense of, he's the bad guy. They're closing in. You see the cops, like, pulling away, like men of serial killer age. So I'm interested since that is the twist to the plot in general, I'm interested like what is the twist?
Exactly. So the whole idea of like the main character is the twist, I think that's kind of what they expected audiences to believe, is that Josh Hartnett's character, the big twist was going to be that he is the killer. So to get it already out there in the trailer gets me more excited, because now I don't know what to expect going into this movie. But I've got a lot of different ideas. Like, you know, was the daughter in on it? Or like not that she's an accomplice to the killer, but is she working with the police to get her dad there? Or like what is the twist he's going for here? Maybe there is no twist. Maybe this is just a straight up Shyamalan twist free movie where it's just a very closed in, in one space horror movie. And if that's the idea, awesome. Just give me a good movie.
It seems through the trailer, and hopefully everyone who's watching has seen the trailer already, like he, by virtue of his actions, by virtue of the fact that he is asking questions and he is skulking around the arena, he's drawing suspicion to himself. So obviously the whole suspense of the movie is like, is this guy going to give himself away, and how? Or is he really clever enough to elude police is really what it's going to be. And obviously in a gigantic venue, like there's lots of lives at stake. Like he could take hostages. He could, and of course there's the X factor of like, he is there as a father taking his daughter to a concert. So it's there's a lot of balls in the air here. It's a lot of interesting concepts. I mean, I don't know if you were a fan of Old. I know there's lots of fans of Old out there. I was not a fan of Old personally. I thought it
was okay. It wasn't as bad as people said it was.
Not so. The plot is great. Well, obviously it was adapted material, so like it was hard for him to mess that up. It was more the casting and just the dialogue as usual, which I think M. Night Shyamalan suffers a lot with dialogue. But this movie, it seems like writes itself, so I don't really feel like this is harder to mess up. Would you say?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's hard to mess up, because it's actually when you're stuck in one location, the writing has to be kind of on point, because you don't have a lot of movement, you don't have a lot of great scenery, you don't have a lot of other stuff that can kind of block the audience's attention away from the dialogue being not that good. For example, Knock at the Cabin, I really enjoyed. The dialogue didn't bother me. I thought the whole atmosphere behind it and Dave Bautista's performance and everything was really, really good. But that's another movie that takes place in one location based on a book. So you can't really mess up the dialogue when it's based on the book, because you can kind of take lines from the book and kind of adapt it in your personal ways. But I like the idea of like center, like one location horror films that way, that kind of rely on the actors to give you a great performance, because if not, then it kind of goes out the window.
Yeah, I think I've forgotten that Knock at the Cabin came after Old, and actually a lot of those dialogue problems that Shyamalan had in Old don't really exist in Knock at the Cabin. I do think when you cast good people, like when you have Dave Bautista, who's just killing it all over the place, working with that dialogue and bringing his ability to emote and act into a character, I really think it kind of you don't see the weaknesses of Shyamalan's writing. Whereas in Old, he had a lot of characters where like English was not their first language, clearly, and like their dialect coaches, whoever the dialect coaches on Old were, need to be like tortured. Like, they were not trying to have people understandable in that movie. Whereas Knock at the Cabin, they did. So, and I know with Josh Hartnett in this movie, I don't think we're going to have those issues with this Shyamalan outing.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It seems like he is at a point where he just wants to do original takes on horror movies. And if that's the case, then I'm all for it. The great thing about Shyamalan is that, love him or hate him, and some of his work I do hate, they're all unique in a certain way. Like, you can't really say that one Shyamalan movie is exactly like any other Shyamalan movie.
I would agree. And if you're just joining us here on TikTok, this is Horror Headlines. My name is John Marr from Why We Love Horror. That's Hunter Chambliss from Welcome to Primetime and the Nerd Entertainment Network. We're just talking about the trailer for Trap. M. Night Shyamalan's movie just dropped. We're just discussing it. If you have any comments on M. Night Shyamalan or Trap or anything else in that nature, drop it in the comments. We'd be happy to talk about it with you live here on TikTok. And we're also live at Welcome to Primetime on YouTube at the same time.
Yes, we are.
Talk about Trap, or you want to move on to the next thing?
There is one thing on Trap I want to bring up, is that what do you think the ultimate twist will be for the story, if there is one?
I have no idea where you go when it's like you have a serial killer cornered in a concert, unless it's like some like really weird like governmental cabal thing, like it's like it's MK Ultra and like all the people he was killing. He was really killing terrorists or something. Like the only way to really like twist it is to like add layers like that.
Mm-hmm.
Brave Reviews is saying he's also intrigued with Trap, curious where we're going. And like if you drop your theories in the chat, guys, I'm not sure what the twist is.
Please.
It's like seeing the trailer, we know Josh Hartnett is the serial killer that the police are after. Where does the twist go? Is he not really a serial killer? Like was he like is it like MK Ultra? Like what is M. Night Shyamalan gonna do? Like but knowing him, we're not going to guess it. We're not going to guess it unless we're not going to guess
it. The only thing I can think of, and this might be dumb, but the whole idea of like we think that Josh Hartnett's character is the butcher, but he's actually like maybe working for the cops who's tracking down the butcher.
That's like a common twist we see. Like if he's acting like he's the, but we see the scene in the trailer
in the bathroom.
He pulls up the webcam in his house with the person in the basement being tortured.
But we don't know if it's his house though. It could be
like he's tapped into it, and so he's like a private investigator who's also on the tail of the killer.
There you go.
He's going to draw attention to himself. That I would see, and like then he winds up by asking questions and drawing attention to himself. He winds up getting arrested as the butcher, and the butcher goes free. Now that's a twist. That. Hopefully we didn't guess it. Hopefully we didn't spoil it. We do not know what's going to go on in this movie.
We do not know.
Yeah, and Greg Review said like it's a twist that's got to be deep because we see a real twist in the trailer, so it's got to be something. I imagine we can't even speculate. I don't think we can even speculate.
No, and that's kind of the great thing about Shyamalan movies is that you go into it expecting a twist, but you're not sure what the twist is. And most of the time he delivers, but then there's some times where he doesn't deliver.
Yeah. What's our next topic?
All right, again from BloodydDisgusting.com, Terrifier 3, a film that I am so looking forward to, filming has wrapped on Damien Leone's Christmas slasher sequel. The return of Art the Clown is getting closer and closer. Bloody Disgusting can announce this morning that filming has officially wrapped on Damien Leone's upcoming Terrifier 3. Cineverse and Bloody Disgusting are reteaming with Iconic Events, releasing as the theatrical distribution partners for Terrifier 3, coming to theaters nationwide later this year. In the sequel to the smash hit Terrifier 2, Art the Clown is set to unleash chaos on an unsuspecting residents of Miles County as they peacefully drift off to sleep on Christmas Eve. Terrifier 3 was named by USA Today as one of the top 10 most anticipated horror films for 2024. Following its theatrical run, Cineverse plans to release the film across all platforms, including its Screambox horror streaming service. Terrifier has also bleeded into other areas, including podcasts and novelizations. You can grab the new Terrifier shirt at Spencer's. There you go. There's a plug. Terrifier 3 is written and directed by Leone. Returning cast include Lauren Lavera, David Howard Thornton, Samantha Scadafi, Elliot Forum, and AEW superstar La Champion, Chris Jericho. I cannot wait.
I'm totally excited for Terrifier 3. Great reviews in the chat. Also excited for Terrifier 3. Alec Miller, our friend Sinister Alec Miller, is in the chat. He's psyched for Terrifier 3. If you're just joining us, I'm John Marr from Why We Love Horror. That's Hunter Chambliss from the Nerd Entertainment Network, and welcome to Primetime. This is Horror Headlines, and the second headline we're talking about tonight is the hype for Terrifier 3 is real. I know on my channel, it was one of my top 10 most anticipated movies of the year. I know we got that teaser trailer where it's implied he murders a child. That drew a lot of controversy towards the film, but we know what we're in for. If you watched All Hallows Eve, if you watched Terrifier, if you watched Terrifier 2, like this is it is an art form in and of itself. How Damien Leone is skirting the line of what is allowable by the Motion Picture Association of America. Like, these movies are not NC-17 movies; they're edited down. He is playing with what is allowed through the censors, and I think that in and of itself,
so weird because those movies are so gross.
Yeah, we just saw it with the first Omen as well. Like, there is, when you toe that line of like how far can you push an R rating. Like, you create a whole different subgenre of horror. And like, yeah, by all means, get the comments. What do you think? Like, do you think how much footage do you think wound up on the cutting room floor? Will we see a director's cut? Will it be 5 hours long? These movies are long, but people don't seem to care. They love Art the Clown. Art the Clown quickly rising the ranks of Scream Kings and slasher icons everywhere. I think he's nearing the top of a lot of people's lists. Also, my cousin's in here, Lisa. Lisa, good to see you.
Awesome. Yeah, dude. I have an interesting history with the Terrifier franchise. Did not watch All Hallows Eve. Went into the first Terrifier movie with kind of an not knowing what this movie was, and I did not like it. I thought it was kind of sloshy in a way that wasn't fun. But I went into Terrifier 2 with an open mind, because I was like, well, if Damien can do something different and give me not only a good, Art the Clown performance, which David Howell Thornton always does, but if he can give me a character I care about, then I'll be hooked. And Terrifier 2 definitely did that. I loved Terrifier 2. Lauren Lavera kicked ass as our main heroine. I think David Howell Thornton really brought in the fun and the psychotic nature of Art the Clown. It was a little bit too long, in my opinion, but overall, I really love Terrifier 2. I cannot wait for Terrifier 3.
I think one of the strengths of Terrifier 2, Lauren Lavera, and we've seen this in a lot of movies in the past, and I'm surprised more directors don't do it. When you have a final girl who is a stunt woman, it's just a better movie, as long as she can act. And Lauren Lavera has proven, like, as far as like as the slasher level of acting we expect, she's shattering that expectation. And she can do her own stunts. She could fight. She could fall. She could like take shots and make them look realistic. People don't realize what that adds to the movie. Like, there's horror movies like where Zoe Bell is in them. Like, Zoe Bell is in the fight scene in *Malignant*. That makes all the difference when you have a lady out there who's willing to take some bumps, as we say in the business. It makes a better scene.
Yeah, 100%. I did not know that she was a stunt woman, if I'm being honest. So that was kind of news to me right there. But it makes so much sense. She was able to do all her own stunts. Her and David Howell Thornton have this weird kind of interesting chemistry with each other, where they're not on screen all the time, but the final battle in Terrifier 2 fucking rocks.
Great.
The interesting part of Terrifier 3 is that it's going to be a Christmas movie. And as we know, David Howard Thornton, I believe he was also in another horror Christmas movie, The Mean One, correct?
He was the mean one in The Mean One.
Yeah.
And I just saw Chuck dropped into the live. Chuck, thanks for checking us out. We appreciate having you here. Again, John Moore from Why We Live Horror. That's Hunter Chambliss from the Nerd Entertainment Network. Welcome to Primetime. Right now we're discussing Terrifier 3, all the buzz leading up to it. We do expect to see it later in the year. We do expect to be one of the highly anticipated movies. We do expect to be one of the most controversial movies of the year. It's Christmas. There's children. Whatever. You're going to be fine.
So I got a question about that. Do you think he actually kills that little girl, or... Because I have a theory that because we've seen that Terrifier delves into this kind of mystical element in a way, I wonder if he actually does kill the real life Santa Claus. I would not be surprised if he just murders the real life.
I'm sure he's going to murder somebody dressed as Santa Claus, and Chuck sure as hell hopes the kid gets it. And apparently, according to Chuck, they are dropping the mystical aspect, which I think is fine. Like, it seems like they did, not that they were painting themselves into a corner, but Damien Leone was definitely painting himself into an area where the movie would have to go from 2.5 hours long to 4 hours long, with like Lauren Lavera's character finding the father's artwork, and she gets stabbed, but she falls in the pit and she goes back to life. Like, just give me a slasher. It's fine. Like, if Art the Clown is hard to kill, if he's some kind of like If he has supernatural powers, that's fine. We've seen that. Make him hard to kill, but just give me a slasher,
Yeah, so the only reason I was saying like he kills the real life Santa Claus is because I thought they were going to lean more to the mystical element because we didn't really get any in Terrifier 1. We got a lot of it in Terrifier 2. I thought they were going to up the ante. So how cool would it be if like all of a sudden Santa Claus appears and he just murders him?
You know what? I wouldn't care. If that's the way they go, that's the way they go. That's fine by me.
Exactly. But question, do you think people will have such a big backlash if he does kill the child?
They're going to, but like they're going to just because they're going to. And it's not like we haven't had movies where like kids like absolutely like die. There's tons of horror movies where children
Georgie and It.
Like, yeah, Georgie and It. Like, a child dies at the beginning of Halloween Ends. Like, there's a bunch of movies where kids are getting killed. Like, and I'm not even gonna. I don't want to go too deep into it. There's movies where children die horribly. Like, not just like, oh, it's tragic. Oh, he silently passed away in his sleep. There's movies where children die horribly. We're not breaking any new ground. And anybody that is going to be offended by anything that happens in Terrifier 3 is just they're just crisis actors at this point. Like, nobody really cares.
Yeah, but I also feel like I don't think we're going to see a lot of that child getting murdered, not like we would for an adult. I cannot see a place where Damien Leone goes to the extremes like he does in the bedroom scene in Terrifier 2 with a child.
Maybe he does. So. Honestly, if he does, it's really out of his hands because he's going to get feedback from the rating. Yeah, Chuck agrees with me. Yes, he will. They're going to get feedback from the rating bureau of what they need to cut to pass it through. So he will be as graphic as he can be if that is what he chooses to do with that child. And like I said, like think of the Blob. Like the Blob dissolves a child. Like in a Feast, the thing eats the child and pukes it back up. Like we've had plenty of scenes with kids meeting untimely demises in movies. So like anybody who's offended is not a fan. Or they're not knowledgeable. And Chuck agreed with me too. Like he put in the first movie we had the girl getting sawn in half. In the second movie we had the bedroom scene. Where do you go from here but to brutalize a protected class? Like where do you go?
That is fair. I'm not against it. If I'm just saying this right now because again I know it's fake. I know, I understand that Damien Leone.
You're going to be fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna be fine with it. But I just know a lot of people are going to be up in arms if he really does go the distance. But you know what? If he does, great on him for having the balls to brutalize a child like that.
Well, we're going to be moving on to our next topic in a second, but just joining us in the chat, I'm John Mara from Marvel Chambliss from the Welcome to Primetime Nerd Entertainment Network, and we're just doing horror headlines this week. Hunter, what's the third headline we got for the people? What else are we talking about?
All right, so a movie I am so looking forward to, Alien Romulus, the new Alien movie from Fede Alvarez.
Trailer looks sick. I love Fede Alvarez. Let's go.
Yes. It says that we built every creature. Alien Romulus goes heavy on old school practical effects. 4 months. We're just 4 months away from the return of the Alien franchise with a brand new movie, Alien Romulus, wherein director Fede Alvarez from Evil Dead and Don't Breathe will put his own personal stamp on the terrifying sci-fi saga. Disney presented some new footage at CinemaCon last night, though the footage unfortunately isn't available anywhere online. That being said, we do have some footage descriptions from various outlets that were in attendance at CinemaCon, and there's a common thread in many descriptions that we have been reading. As promised by Alvarez, Alien Romulus is a practical effects heavy affair. Collider's Stephen Weintraub tweeted, "For starters, the Alien Romulus scenes are brutal and scary and exactly what I wanted. The practical effects and sets look great." The hashtag shows Hunter Balding tweets, "Alien Romulus from the small amount of footage we saw looks like a return to Alien being horrifying. This is Evil Dead 2013 for the Alien series. Mean-spirited, gross, and shocking. People were covering their eyes." And Brandon Davis reacts. He said, footage shown face huggers, hugging faces, a violent chest emerging, and intense terror and tension. Violent and startling. That looks insane. I am so excited from what we've seen here.
I would say if we look at the Alien franchise as a whole, we haven't really recaptured the suspense of Alien. Not saying we haven't had good movies, but you go from like the kind of like bottleneck suspense of Alien to like the sci-fi action of Aliens. Though you do get some of that bottleneck suspense towards the end when they're outnumbered again. Alien 3 was sort of a return to form, but people are critical of that movie. Then you get what, Alien Resurrection, which was okay. The Alien versus Predator thing was just like your typical crossover action sci-fi movie again.
And then you had Prometheus and all that.
And Alien Covenant felt like almost political dramas with aliens involved in it. Just a lot of world building, which I appreciate. So now we've done all that. We're returning to form. If we're going to get another bottleneck suspenseful movie where like an alien is stalking, non-military crew members in a ship, I'm all for it. It's been 45 years since we've had that in the Alien franchise, at least, unless you're counting Alien 3, which take it or leave it. I'm happy for it. I'm happy for it. And if you're just joining us again, like I said, I'm John Mark from Marvel of Horror, Hunter Chambliss from the Primetime. Welcome to Primetime Nerd Entertainment Network. This is Horror Headlines. We're live on YouTube. We're live on TikTok. What do you think about it, Hunter? Are you happy that Aliens returning to form with Fede?
I am so excited. I'm a huge fan of Fede Alvarez. I thought the 2013 Evil Dead reboot is my second favorite Evil Dead movie behind Rise. I love Don't Breathe. I think that's a really good it should have been a standalone horror movie. We don't talk about the sequel. But Fede Alvarez is a great director and someone who you would want to choose if you're looking to reboot a horror franchise and take it into a more serious direction. And the fact that he says we are going back to practical effects, very little CGI will be used. They're building sets. They're building, these creatures. That's really, really fucking good because look at Jurassic Park and then look at stuff made with CGI, even, in the 2010s. Practical effects hold up way more in the long run than CGI ever will, in my opinion. I don't have a CGI hate. If it looks good, it's going to look good. But I feel like going back to practical effects, making it a small budget, a contained story, this can only mean, brighter upside for the Alien franchise.
I agree. I'm excited. Fede Alvarez, and even movies where Fede Alvarez, it's kind of like we have directors, kind of like in football, we have like coaching trees, directors influencing directors. Like Fede Alvarez is already influencing other directors. I know that he handed off. I mean, not that the latest Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie was like a mind-blowingly great, but he did hand that off.
I liked it. I had fun with it.
I wasn't going to shit on it. He did hand it off to somebody else. There's the Angel Garcia, whatever his name is, and he did a very passable job. And the gore looked great. The effects looked great. Was it like the greatest movie ever? No, but was it like fine? And for like your assistant coach to basically take the ball and score that many points with it is great. So that I give Fede Alvarez credit for that too. Everything he's done, I think he's a trusted name at this point. I think them giving him the Alien franchise was smart. He's definitely one of the names that I'm okay with him doing it. I don't know a ton about the specifics of the plot, but I don't really care. Just give me Alien.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not a huge Alien fan. I love the original. I love the sequel. Didn't really like any others. I thought the only one I thought was passable was probably excuse me, Alien, the new one, the newest one before this one. Covenant. I thought that one was pretty good, just because you had like great actors in there that kind of, sewed a lot of stuff in the franchise. I'm glad they're getting away from the Prometheus kind of prequel series and are just going back to the Alien franchise. Because that stuff can get confusing, especially if you're not going to tie it into anything and you're just kind of making movies to make movies and just setting it in a prequel timeline. But yeah, I'm so excited for this movie. Hopefully, if this one does well, we'll get another one from Fede Alvarez, which will be 10 times better, because if it makes money, then Disney's going to put more money behind the sequel.
I would agree. All right, well, that's enough of that. What's our final headline on that? Again, while Hunter pulls that up, I'm John Marr from Wide Horror. That is Hunter Chambliss from the Nerd Entertainment Network. Welcome to Prime Time. This is Horror Headlines. We're giving you a number of headlines for tonight. This is our final one for tonight. What's our final topic we're talking about, Hunter?
So I did not know this was even happening. A Ready or Not 2 is in development. It says Radio Silence filmmakers tease the absolute banger of a sequel that has taken shape. It was first reported a couple weeks ago that Ready or Not 2 is now in development, with Adam Rubatel, the taking of Deborah Logan, Insidious: Last Key, Escape Room Tournament of Champions, in talks to direct the sequel to the 2019 box office hit. Additionally, we learned that Samara Weaving would be returning to star. That is great. Entertainment Weekly caught up with Ready or Not directors Tyler Gillette and Matt Bettinelli Open in the wake of those reports, and now we got an update straight from the source. It's getting figured out. That's what we'll say. Ready or Not 2 is getting figured out, Gillette tells EW, confirming last month's reports. What we can say is that there's a script that is an absolute fucking banger of a sequel, and however it gets made and in whatever capacity we are helping to get it made, we are so excited that is happening. Excuse me. I don't think we knew after making Ready or Not that there would be so much story left to tell, Gillette continues. We're so proud of what the first movie is. We're so proud of what the sequel is, and we are really excited and fingers crossed that it gets made, Oakland adds. And with Searchlight and Samara, they're not going to let us down. So,
right. A lot of information in there that I'm dissecting in my head. Let me just, full disclosure, I just walked out of Abigail like an hour ago. And go see that goddamn movie. Oh my God. That movie's absolutely incredible. It's everything you want from the Radio Silence guys. Like, I'm not critical of Ready or Not, but I did think Ready or Not had wasted potential in it. And they've learned their small lessons to be learned from Ready or Not, and they double down at Abigail, and it kicks ass. Now, when you tell me that they're not directing Ready or Not 2 and they're turning it over to Adam Robitel, not that Adam Robitel is a bad director, he's not, but he does not have a banger under his belt. He has a bunch of like 3-star movies under his belt, I would say. Like, he has Insidious: The Last Key, the Escape Room movies, and what was the other one you mentioned? Like, they're all fine. They're all like
the taking of Deborah Logan.
Deborah Logan is the peak, and that was like his first movie. Like, that's his peak, and he's honestly declining. He's not done any bad movies. Adam, if you're watching, I doubt you are.
There's no way he's watching.
I like you, but your movies they're just like popcorn. They're fun popcorn movies. Like, they're not Ready or Not. They're not Abigail. They're definitely not the last 2 Scream movies. Like, they're not at that level. So it gives me pause that the Radio Silence guys are just kind of handing this off and not wanting to direct it themselves. Why? Why wouldn't they? Like, I don't understand why they would just hand that off. Like, Ready or Not is crazy good. You have Samara Weaving back. I imagine the plot would just be the fact that, like, there are other people who are under the influence of LaBelle and have similar arrangements, and she's wise to it since she survived. Because, like, what a note to end on. Like, the police are there. How are you explaining all these exploded bodies? I'm sure they're going to answer that question.
Fucking in-laws.
And then you kind of go from there, because you got to imagine if that really was the devil that the Domus family made a deal with. You know, the devil's got a portfolio, right? So now, now Grace is going to go looking. And if that's the plot of the movie, I'm in. I'm in for that. I don't know how she infiltrates and has to be involved in another Ready or Not scenario, but, like, I'm willing to have them tell me that story.
Yeah, 100%. I was kind of taken aback, kind of like you, John, that Radio Silence decided to not direct a sequel. And then I saw the director. I thought the taking of Deborah Logan was okay. I didn't think it was really fantastic or a masterpiece or whatever. I did not like Insidious: Last Key. I thought that movie was super boring. I've never seen the Escape Room films. I heard they're just kind of schlocky fun.
They're gimmicky. The gimmick. It's a killer escape room. Like, it's hard to mess up. Like,
yeah,
they're fun.
But it does give me kind of a sigh of relief that, one, the Radio Silence guys are working at, I'm guessing, producers for this film because they're seeing
They're
scripts.
definitely producing it. It's their concept. Yeah.
Yeah. And the idea that like they saw the script and they're happy with the script enough to sign off for a sequel gets me excited because if the people who created this concept are happy with it, then they know what we're looking for. And I'm a huge fan of Radio Silence, so I'm excited to go into Ready or Not 2 because I absolutely love the first one. Perfect mix of horror and comedy. And the first movie of Radio Silence, I saw that were like, these guys can do a Scream movie, and they did 5 and 6 fantastically. So
I've been fans of Radio Silence ever since their VHS short because that was incredible as well. 10/30/98 is fantastic. Yeah, I mean, again, this is something that's just in the earliest stages of development. This could fizzle out. This could become something. We're just reporting the news here. You know, don't shoot the messenger.
Don't shoot the messengers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, anything else we need to talk about today? Because otherwise, that's been a pretty banger horror headlines, I would say.
There you go. No, I mean that's all for news topics. I can't wait to see Abigail. That's one of my most anticipated horror movies of the year. I'm seeing it hopefully this weekend. I can't wait to give you guys my review on it. John, anything you want to talk about before we head out?
Not much. I just want anybody who joined us or anybody's watching right now, just remember I'm John Marr from Wild Horror. That's Hunter Chambliss from Welcome to Primetime and the Nerd Entertainment Network. I think next week we will be able to have better production. We'll be able to get the news articles on screen for you. We're working the kinks out. We're new. Hunter might be young and I might be old, but we're new to this. All right. So thank you for joining. Thank you for commenting. If you're watching on YouTube, thanks for watching. If you're watching on the Facebook group, thank you for watching there. If you're watching on X, thank you for watching there because I shared it all over the goddamn place.
You shared it on Facebook too. I even saw that.
Yeah, we're on every streaming platform. We're there every week. The viewership will grow, I promise. Until then, we appreciate you being there, and we'll see you next time.
Stay scared, guys.
Here, and we'll end this.